There's a time to put your head down and switch off. This is very pertinent because you got told that you overtrained this week. So.
Oh yeah, that's probably. I'm probably thinking about it in the opposite way, to be honest, than you've read that. I meant it from the fact
As in,
that,
like, grafting?
Yeah, so sometimes, so for an example I was thinking of was like a really long yomp, where you're in pain, but the pain isn't getting any worse, necessarily. So you're in a certain amount of pain on a yomp, right? But if that locks, well, it's just twos, but it's fine.
For all the listeners out there, you now know Harry Shepherd's passcode.
Yeah,
so if
you're
you're
phone in a week, so it's fine. fuck you all. Anyway, so if you're on a yomp, big heavy backpack, walk for hours, it might be 8, 10, 12 hours, really long amount of time so from 0 to an hour, the pain increases. Okay, at an hour, the pain stays steady.
I like this. This is like Yomping 101.
Yeah, it is. No, I've found this out through experience. But yeah, 0 to 1 hour, you're getting worse. It's like, this is fucking horrendous. If it keeps compounding like this, I'm fucked. Because I've got 12 hours. If you get to an hour, that is where the pain sits and stops getting worse, and you just kind of, oh fucking hell, that's a bit shit, but like, you can get through it. What you have to do at that point is try and switch your brain off, because if you're thinking about anything, like how much your shoulders hurt, how long you've got to go, how long you've been going for, where where your rifle strap's digging in, if you're like aware of cognitivity, all these things, it just makes them worse and worse and worse.
Well,
and
it
compound.
Eats away in your mind.
Well, it draws attention to them. So as soon as you think, fucking hell, my feet are hurting, I've got blisters, I fucking didn't buy any red-on socks. And then your attention is drawn to the blisters, and then you fuck, because for the next hour until you stop for a break, you're always thinking about that, and mentally then it gets worse. It's just like a good example is, when you're a kid and you fall over and like cut yourself.
Yeah.
And you don't realise it's hurting until you look at it.
Mm.
And that happens a lot.
Especially with young children, when they don't know how to kind of process their emotions fully. When babies fall over.
That's what I mean.
They fall over and they're not necessarily injured, but because they're kind of like slowly being conditioned, thinking, oh, well, if I fall over, I should be upset.
Association, yeah.
So there's that delay where they fall over, they get up, they dust themselves off, and they almost tell themselves, oh no, I should be upset.
Yeah.
Because I've fallen over it.
But it's normally that they've seen the wound. So if like, they fall over, they've like grazed themselves, whatever, they'll get up, and then they'll look down, and then they'll start crying, because then they're drawing attention to oh shit, now I'm hurt. So it's the same thing, just extrapolated out until you're 24, going through Marines training. But there is a time, and this is more for physical stuff, but it can be used for like maybe staying up writing reports or staying up writing stuff for uni. There is a time just to grind and just to switch off and just go.
Right, so how can we give the listeners something actionable to put in place here? What did you use as a technique when you're on a yomp? How did you go to your happy place? What was your happy place?
Good question. That's a very good question. I always would think of the end state. So you'd always know you'd always know kind of when the exercise on the macro was going to end, and I'd have something in my head that I was going to do at that moment. So like getting some scran, getting a Chinese in or whatever, that I would tie a lot of my optimism to. So I'd be like, okay, well, fucking hell, this is shit, but in 6 days I get to just let loose and chill out and have Chinese, whatever I'm having, and I'd just build that up and build that kind of picture in my mind of what it'll feel like having achieved what I need to achieve, sitting down and having a Chinese, versus the opposite, having wrapped and not achieved what I want to achieve, still having the Chinese, and then I feel shit.
That's like positive visualizations, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a pretty common thing used in sports psychology.
Yeah.
The idea is you picture yourself at the finish line, not you rapping. Yes,
but you picture yourself with the achievement in mind. So there's always two realities you can picture. One is, you're at the end, but you haven't quite achieved what you want to achieve because of whatever reason you've throttled back, or you've wrapped on your nav, or you're injured or whatever. And the other one is you've achieved everything you want to achieve, and you've achieved the goal you set out to achieve. And then if you can tie yourself to that one and think that's the only metric for success, that's the only thing I care about having, and then you can remove yourself a little bit from the situation and try and build that picture of, okay, I'm going to order number 42, which is like fried rice, whatever. I mean, like, you get really detailed into it, and then you take your mind off everything that's happening in the moment. You start to run through your fucking Chinese order in your head, which is just a technique, but you can take that into, I guess, academically. Could you use that kind of thing where, you know, you've got a paper in for fucking...
It's a lot different because it's kind of like, it's not physical pain, it's like cognitive frustration.
Yeah, I know.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's difficult.
And it's kind of more pronounced and prolonged. So, like, let's take like a dissertation, for example, or like a thesis.
Well, I've never written one, so yeah.
It was like 15,000 words or whatever, but because it's so protracted over months, the pain is less pronounced immediately in like a specific time frame.
Yeah.
So, you know, so if you're on like a yomp or something, the pain is, I don't know, drawn out over a few hours or something. Yeah. So that's going to be a lot more pronounced in your mind.
Yeah.
Unless you leave your thesis till like the deadline.
This is what I was thinking about.
Yeah, so
you're cramming.
So because I've got good time management, I have no experience in this.
Okay, yeah.
Because I'd always do any essay or like dissertation well before it was due in.
Yeah, as you can imagine, my admin probably won't be that good. And, I would end up cramming.
Yeah, but so like anecdotally through people I know who are like on my course and stuff, mates, like if they leave it till the last minute, that is exactly the same.
Yeah, so you have to picture yourself handing in something you're happy with, rather than you've maybe, I don't know, got distracted, or you haven't put 100% attention into it. Something, you know, your mind's wandering, whatever. You haven't been focused, and then you hand it in anyway because you've got to, because it's a submission date, and then you're not maybe happy with your effort. So I think that's probably the carryover, and I can relate it to this week at work, like having shitloads of fucking programming to do, and knowing that Saturday morning I don't want any overlaid. I don't want anything that's gone over into the weekend. So I know that in the week I need to have decent time management. I need to have good distraction management, because I'm going to get all this shit done, and then I don't have to do anything on the weekend.
I literally said this to myself this morning as well. I dangled myself the carrot of Saturday off.
Yeah.
Rare Saturday off.
Yeah.
So I thought, right, well, if I crack on today, then I know my prize at the end of it.
That's it. Yeah, so that's kind of an example where you can take that into something that's completely unrelated. Unfortunately, I've got sales calls tomorrow morning, but anyway.